All right, everybody. Joining me this evening is a super talented electronic pop artist out of Oakland, California, Sophia Prise. What's going on?
Not a whole lot, except I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So talk to me about your journey. I don't interview too many EDM people, but it's I've been to a few clubs and I know how just a few clubs, and I know how crazy it gets. So talk to me about how you got into the scene.
That's that's a really interesting way to frame that because I came up in the electronic music scene before the term EDM.
Oh,
So
well, I hope I didn't offend, you
not
know.
at all, but it's a good jumping off point to say that that is technically a genre on its own that's a
Oh,
little bit more, say, like poppy. And I only say that to explain that when I write songs and produce music,
mm,
I'm always sort of like drawing from the dance music scene that I'm in at the moment. Like I've gone through so many phases. I've never been in EDM, but I went, of course, through my bass music phase. I went through even like trap music phase. I went through like deep house, techno. I traveled Berlin and Paris just chasing techno only. And like, while I don't write for just one, electronic
hmm
dance music genre, that's still
right,
what inspires my like pop songs essentially because I
right.
write songs.
So,
Yeah.
EDM is kind of like it's interesting. It's an acronym, obviously, electronic dance music, but then it's also like a specific genre and basically talking point for podcasts like me that don't even do research. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it
But no,
came up
I
in
know, I know the difference between like house and techno and all that shit, dubstep. But
Sure. So like right now, I'm obsessed with electro house and like Detroit classic. Just like
nice,
a
yeah.
lot of like analog sounds and 303 and like really driving, super repetitive. I love minimal stuff. So trying
hmm
to see how I can fold that into my productions. The songs that you've probably heard are quite different. So
Well,
I'm
I've
a
heard I've heard the two you probably think I've heard.
yeah, I mean the ones I recently put out, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah, Manifest
Tripwire and
and
Manifesting, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so definitely moving forward into a bit more like four on the floor, full on kind
hmm
of electro sound. But yeah, it's just been nice getting my stuff out there and playing shows and just, singing my songs like electronically because of course it took me a while to be able to produce my music. I used to
Right.
just try to teach a band.
Oh, really? Well, let's talk about that. How did you talk about your journey into music in general?
Yeah, well, I always wanted to, play out and do shows with my music, but since I didn't really know how to produce, I had to basically get people on board to play my music live. Like I would have a drummer, a guitarist, a cellist, violinist,
Yeah,
who else?
right.
Guitar. So I would like teach them my music, and then I was just like, man, this is so much effort. And I started fiddling around with Reason, and then Ableton Live, and then really got my foothold in Logic.
hmm
So now I get to be the lone wolf that I crave.
Well, what when did you like really start getting like traction? Like when you started hearing like feedback, like, all right, I got something here. Let's start the channel. Let's start, putting stuff online.
I think that I don't really have very much traction.
Well, you're getting it. I saw the you're being humble. I saw the YouTube views. Okay,
Yeah.
don't, be humble. Be I like the
I think
humbleness, but you have some traction. Let's
Well,
not
the
just
reason that one did so well was because, again, I'm very eclectic with genres, and at the time, I was really into kind of like the Flume-esque big beat. And so I actually went to a producer, David Earl, and I was like, I produced my tracks like I produced Tripwire from scratch.
Hey,
But I was like, David, I really need this to sound a certain way, and I don't want to mess this up. So we collaborated. So I love doing collaborations, producing has so many nooks and crannies that like when you're working with someone else, you always learn. So I think that, you know, because the quality that he brought to the table was definitely up there. And the music
Hmm.
video, I mean, you know, spent some time on the music video. So that one
Right,
definitely
right,
has just had a better quality. And now that's my new barometer, and working on like a new single with a new video and everything. Uh,
nice.
that it either has to match or
Or not.
or past that. Yeah. But yeah, David Earl, he's a really he's won an Emmy, I think. He does a lot of video game music, so he's been a really good mentor for me, getting me
Mhm.
to get there.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about these two songs in particular, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
Tripwire, take us down that journey. What was the like meaning behind it, the precipice, all that good stuff?
I was going to a lot of clubs. I was very, very single. The song is an amalgamation of like three different guys that sort of, I used to call it low key heartbreak, you know? So it's this idea that you get led on, and,
Right.
but
I've
also that, yeah, go ahead.
I've sorry, I've been there, so I know what you're talking about.
But also that they kind of tripped on me too. Like they got a little caught up with me. So the song is a little bit like, you know, you're setting the trap, but then you kind of get trapped yourself. And I just, with the production, I was really trying to create a mood. Not so much telling like a big story. It's more of that like sensual mood, like you're in the dark club, you're making out. But then there's that tug of like, this person, you know, you don't know what's going on. Like, what? How come they haven't gotten a hold of me? Right? Because there's that line in there. But who knows? Who knows? You know, it's
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Like weeks have gone by at that point, and the only thing you can do is to write a song.
Right, because sometimes, I mean, to be honest, to be fair, both, there everyone has two different sides to the story. But at the same time, you only know your truth. So your truth is how you feel. So I understand like how that was, because I'm a little older now for the club scene, but I do remember going to clubs, and there'd be like this girl, and we dated for a while, and then like but she'd go to the clubs every night, and
Yeah.
like and she would like and she was good looking. So she was like, that was after we broke up. So like moved on like right away, and then but then she would always come back to me. So I
Oh
understand.
yeah. Don't trust a girl who's going to the club every night. I
Well,
mean,
no,
looking back, that was me too. Like I probably wasn't
this was this was
trusted.
this was a long time ago though, Sophia. That Not a long time ago, but
But I wrote Tripwire. I mean, Tripwire, when did it come out? 2021? 2018? I don't remember. But
yeah.
I wrote it a long time ago. And it the beat is kind of, I like how it's like thick and heavy, and it kind of just pulls you into that sort of more like obsessive vibe, because that's how you
Mm.
get, you know, you're like um picking up on all the like signals, but yeah, there are two
So
sides to it.
was it the creative process just quick? You had what you
For this
like?
one.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah, for this one, the production came so fast, and I love it when that happens because then you know it's right.
yeah, right.
You know, the
Because
production came. Yeah, go ahead.
sometimes you can overthink. Same thing with like podcasting. Like I'll have an idea, and then it's like, well, was this gonna get downloads? Well, no, screw it. I'll just do it anyways.
Yeah, yeah. I did not overthink the production. It's not a super complicated song. It's pretty short, but the verses, like I said, it's an amalgamation. So I actually like wrote verse two later when I picked up the song again, and I had more to write because it had sort of happened to me again, like in the future. So I wrote the verse about
Right.
a different person, and literally the chorus about a completely different person still. So, but to me, they're all the same, right? So that was the process there. The lyrics took a while, but the track was easy. With Manifestant, that
Hmm.
the it was it
Say
was
that
just
again. Say
many
say
drafts.
the say that again. The
So
pronunciation.
It's the French word. Technically, you pronounce it manifeste. It
Manif
looks like it looks like
manif.
manifestant, but
Yeah.
it's manifeste. It's a
Well,
third
can I
person.
try it? Can I try it?
Uh-huh.
Manifested.
Yeah.
Okay.
Manifest.
Do you do the, you don't do the T at the end?
You
Period.
don't. You don't. Not with a they verb. So
Manifested.
manifested
All right.
means they protest
Okay.
in French.
Got
Yeah.
it. Got it. Um, this one, not like there's a super contrast in style. I like both styles of, Tripwire and Manifesting. I hope I got it right there.
I think
But
that's
anyways, I'm trying.
gotta say, like, I made him do like 5 drafts of it. I was so picky and relentless. And then, I learned a lot. I really do prefer when it just flows and you maybe have like a couple drafts.
Mhm.
But, like, yeah, this was one of those songs that was really full in arrangement. So very tricky to mix down properly in the way that we wanted the overall impact to be.
Right.
So yeah, it took a lot of mixed versions.
Hmm. So, what's the scene like in Oakland? Is there a lot of, like, the music scene in Oakland? Is it eclectic? Is it, you know?
Oakland's eclectic, yeah, yeah. The the live electronic scene, sort of where I play out, is sort of
Mm,
speckled. You kind of just go by band to band. Like there are a couple handfuls of live electronic acts, and we'll play bills together. But as far as the scene goes, like yeah, you have a whole club scene where you can pick any genre you like. Lately, like I said, it's a little bit more electro for me. But otherwise, like the live music scene, I love the just like the rock music scene here, honestly. That still influences me. Yeah, a lot
yeah,
of really
really.
good.
I'm a rock person myself. So, listen, or you have some of your like influences. I'm
No,
assuming,
I
like,
don't
is
I
it
don't get
like,
influenced by local bands, no,
no,
no.
but you like hard rock or
Well, I'm in everything but the everything, and we're like a post-punk new wave style. So anything that's
oh,
like alt, like harder alt rock, or a little bit, I want to say dark wave. Like I
okay.
really,
Well,
because
I'm gonna
that,
list some bands, and they'll see what you think of these bands. All right, I'm gonna see if you've heard of them. I'm gonna list some.
okay, I probably won't, but
My Chemical Romance.
okay, yeah, no, of course I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're like my favorite. I used to get like
Oh, I see.
really drunk to them.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, my good friend was like a huge MCR fan, so I feel like I've peripherally heard a lot of their music.
Mm,
Um, but yeah,
Black Parade. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah. That was my jam back in the day.
And what to you is back in the day?
Well, I'm 36, so back in the day for me would be, I don't know, 2000s, 2005, 2010, something like that.
Oh, okay.
But that's me. But like I was also into, let's see, what are the other bands? Both My Valentine. I was
Mm-hmm.
into them. Tears Don't Fall. That's another one of my, like, I love the heart stuff. Like the ones where you can just feel like emotion out of the, like, I know every artist usually has emotion, but I mean, you can tell a song when they're just like half, when there was really like emoting out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And that's the tricky balance for me is a lot of electronic music and a lot of dance or pop music you uses too much of this kind of like cool, unbothered, it's like when you're just pouring and you have like a bigger sound and a bigger voice, which I do, sometimes people think that that voice is a little bit more for rock. And it's like, yeah, I write rock songs. I have a band that I sing with for that. But I do think that there's space in electronic dance to have a little bit more song led, emotional, passionate lyricism and not have everything like really mixed back, really layered, really breathy. I mean, think Grimes. Like,
Mhm.
sometimes I like the production, but can't hear anything that she's saying. Like I can't understand the lyrics. It's super overproduced. So yeah, my goal is to try to find that impact that I love from the harder rock and
Right.
quite frankly, even metal sometimes.
Hey,
But
I
find
can go metal with you too. I can talk metal with you too.
But the idea is like I'm trying to find that impact. I have a guitarist play with me now because like even without a drummer and you're you've got the beats going, like I want that guitar in there because there's just no synth that can match the impact of a live electric guitar. So yeah, that's I'm definitely going in that direction where it mixes that in more.
Hmm. Who were some artists that like influenced you when you first started?
First starting out, it was probably Fever Ray that just pushed me to want to produce my own music and do like this dark, moody, but still
Hmm.
electronic, but minimal sound. So
Right.
Fever Ray, I don't know if you know Karen Dreyer Anderson. She's a half
No.
the Knife. So the Knife were a pretty prominent, influential electro pop band. Um,
Hmm.
Scandinavian.
Okay.
So yeah, when she toured in 2009, like that, I mean, even to date, it might be the best concert I've ever seen. Lately, like Moderat is really inspiring me
Okay.
because they get heavy, but
Yep.
they still are song based. They've found that impact that still you can write lyrics and you can write songs. It's not just all about the drop or all
Right.
about the shock and awe. Like they really have beautiful melodies. So yeah, I saw them live a few months ago at the Fox, and I was
Really?
like, yes, this is kind of my North Star right now.
Okay. Yeah. I saw. I get kind of into the back to the harder rock scene. I like really all about like Rise Against and like
Okay,
and I saw them live. It's like one of the greatest concerts ever. It was them and it was like Killswitch Engage.
nice. So
Have you
you
seen I
this was recent, right? Because I remember Rise Against. Didn't they tour recently?
yeah, I'm in Florida, so yeah, they toured recently. Yeah, this was probably a couple years ago, I think.
A couple years ago was pandemic
Maybe
times.
maybe it was I don't know. It
I'm
was
just
maybe it
wondering
was
if it's
3 years
post.
ago. Maybe it was like it was pre-COVID, I think.
Oh, okay,
But
okay.
like it was
That's not.
just I know time flies. I know when I say a couple years ago, like I think it's a couple years ago, but in reality it was probably like four.
Well, to
But
me, time did not fly. Those 2 years felt like six to me.
I
So
know, yeah,
I
there's a
couldn't
lot
play
of
out. I couldn't play out. I couldn't. You'd think, and a lot of artists might have done this. You'd think you'd just, oh, I have all this time at home, so I'm going to produce all this music. But
mhm.
really, it was I'm so oppressive, and I felt so. I'm kind of a claustrophobic person. So if I'm not going out and listening and hearing just honestly like all the electronic music I love, then it's hard for me to just sit behind the computer because I haven't gotten my like fix. Like, oh, this is what I'm obsessed with.
Oh,
So
okay. I
yeah,
But those people are like so talented because they focus on one thing. They have like they know what they want and they go get it. I like people like that know what they want and they're not gonna you got like you're not gonna stop until you get it the way it sounds. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it turns out the way that you want it to, is my point.
yeah, definitely, yeah. And I'm just so glad to kind of have like fresh air in my music right now, like be playing out with my band and be inspired by kind of like these interesting harder rock local bands.
Hmm.
And then at the same time, actually being able to go listen to my, sweet house and techno music outside again.
Man, I went to this. I lived in Virginia for a while, and I'll never forget it. I went to this. My buddy was like texting me. First time I ever went to like a DJ night or whatever. He was like texting me. He's like, "Hey man, you gotta. I know this isn't your vibe, but you gotta come down. You gotta come out and check this techno bar." I'm like,
Mhm.
techno bar, all right. I'm just like,
Techno bar.
yeah, it's like not
Sounds
my
great.
not my not my type of scene. But I mean, he was buying drinks, so I was like, whatever. I always buy every time we went out, but like, yeah, whatever. So he was like,
So
so I go
dating
in there
there.
and it was just a list of like 10 DJs that just went bam, 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 just
Yeah.
like, and I was just like zone. And ever since then, I love that stuff. Like when it's just beats, like when you're drunk, when you're really drunk, it's like the best.
Well, you asked about the scene. On January 1st, this is my scene. Like I think I've gone 8 times. We have this thing in the Bay Area called Breakfast of Champions. And
Okay.
outdoors. It's on New Year's Day, and there are like 6 stages. So you would can
Nice.
essentially like go from any sound, like a little bead of honey, and just try all the flowers.
Mm.
And it was beautiful techno and house and deep house and tech house all day. And that was the one day of sun we had, so it felt like a miracle. That's a fun
Hmm.
scene because I love the club as much as another person, and drinking is fun. But like honestly, I like to be outside,
Mm.
daytime. I'm a raver at heart. Like
I mean,
back
you
in
look.
my day.
Hold on. Hey, don't be taking my lines. I'm just kidding. You look like you could knock a few back. You look like you could
Back in
knock
the what?
a few drinks back. You look like you could handle your liquor.
Yeah, I absolutely can handle it. I'm the kind of person that I will never like throw up, but it's almost a bad thing because it's like when you just can keep going and stay
Yeah,
standing, you just get
maybe
crazier and
that's
crazier.
and then there's coffee that usually works, and then water, and and then it just the cycle keeps going.
Yeah, like a Red Bull and vodka, and you're just
Mm.
no, I'm just kidding. I
No,
actually did have that.
I talked to somebody on the podcast. They were a bartender in California, and they were like, "Yeah, Red Bull and vodka. There's a lot of them."
Well, I actually only drink Red Bull when I'm not drinking that night because Red Bull is a drug of its own. Because
Yeah.
I'm sensitive, so if I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna drink because I have to like bike home sometimes, and that's dangerous. So
Mhm.
I'll just have some Red Bulls and get really springy. But yeah, if I'm going to
So
a rock show, I need beer.
yeah. So you got a great story to share? Some experience you've had, or if someone's had at one of your shows, or you got any good stories over there?
I think I have a pretty good story.
You can go explicit as you want. This isn't no like
Okay, what
here's
kind
the
of good story?
well, I don't know. Your call. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. There's no limit on
So
this show.
I think this is a pretty fun story because I like the moral of the story is like anything can happen. Um,
Hmm.
so I've been working on my own music for a long time, and I'm also totally open to collabs, like I said, and I like, I sing for my
Hmm.
band. I keep it eclectic. So when I got tapped to sub for a singer who had dropped out of a tour, and it was still live electronic music. So it was like still like I love live electronic. However, it was more like side dub.
Hmm.
So definitely not my genre of choice, but I got to go on this North American tour as just a little like, who the fuck cares about this? And I'm singing to like thousands of people,
Really?
main stage at festivals, killing it. Um, I learned all the music really fast. It was like an emergency situation. They had the tour booked, and then the singer apparently was just like nutter, like
Hmm.
little nutcase
Yeah, yeah,
apparently.
yeah. I got it. I got it.
And so they just desperately needed someone with a US passport who could, sing in the style and do the thing for very little pay. But hey, when you're getting like chauffeured to Envision Festival and like
What?
fed, yeah, we like headlined at
Nice.
what's it in there was a festival called Tribal Gathering in Panama. So all of a sudden I thought it was like a Cinderella moment. You're like plucked out, you get your wristband, you use like $200 that you can just spend at the bar, tons of food, everyone is treating you really nicely, and you get to have all
Mm.
these experiences in the jungle. Like I had never seen monkeys hopping from trees before while I rehearsed music. So that was a pretty fun experience for me to realize that like, hey, if you keep just doing
Hmm.
your fucking thing, like little fun, lucky things can happen. And they might not make or break you, but it's still one for the books.
I like that story. That's a good story. So what do you have coming up this year? Do you got live venues booked, or what's your plan for the new year?
That's a good question. I have, so speaking of eclectic, my background is classical. I have a
Hmm.
master of music. So I happen to be artistic director for an opera nonprofit. So the next 2 months of my life is totally taken over by my aerial opera. So this is the fourth aerial opera that I've produced. So
Hmm.
orchestra, professional opera singers, aerialists, full costume, just amazing, taking all my time. But in the
Right.
background, I'm producing and I'm working on my set because my opera goes up at the top of March, and then I have a
Hmm.
show. I have a show booked with Host Bodies, which is a local live electronic act, and Contain Her, who is like a synth pop singer producer. So we'll be playing Hotel Utah, like I believe it's a Friday, March 23rd. And so I'll be like back, with my own music. And then with my rock band, we have a new single coming out that we're laying down this Tuesday. So
What's the name of the band?
we're everything but the everything.
I like that. That's really good.
Yeah, and that's going to be like the dark alt rock sound with a tinge of
Hmm.
post punk or new wavy
And
vibe.
how many people are in this band?
So we have our guitarist Ian. We just added a second guitarist. He's played, I think, 2 shows with us now.
Nice.
Yeah, it's kind of nice because our sound is all about the wall of sound.
Hmm.
Not like in a shoegazy way, but like in an impactful way.
Shoegaze. Oh man, we could keep talking about music all night. I love shoegaze.
And there's a little element of that in there, but honestly, we are fast and to the point. That's where the post punk comes in from. Like it's
Hmm.
it's it's forward in movement, and so yeah, drummer, bassist, 2 guitarists.
Hmm.
I'm a singer, and we also have a front man. So
Nice.
when he
That
has his
sounds
rock,
cool.
he's so good at those rock vocals, like they blow me away, like
Hmm.
Chris Cornell level, you
Oh,
know?
really?
Yeah,
Nice.
he's amazing. So it's so nice to when he has his lead vocals, I do some
Hmm.
backup. And then when
Okay.
we come to the songs that I've written, he doesn't need
You
to
have
sing.
a good like chemistry and everything like that. I got you.
I love these guys. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
they're pausing for me because this aerial opera is taking over my life. But
Hmm.
come the spring, I'll be performing more electro and rock.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Sophia, this has been fantastic. Thank you again for coming on the podcast. This has been fun. I love it. I could talk to you about music all night, but oh, what's the cat's name?
His name is Strobe. Speaking of musical influences, I was very influenced by Dead Mouse in
Dead
2011.
Mouse. You're on fire. I love this type of stuff.
Early Dead Mouse.
I
So
love
if you
that shit.
remember, he had that masterpiece named Strobe.
Mm-hmm.
I think it
Yeah.
came out in 2009 or something. So that's
Um,
my
like,
cat is named after that.
are you a fan of Marshmello?
I dropped off of the scene. I'm sure they're talented, but it's just not my thing anymore.
Okay, I
No.
would have like usually when I talk to someone that's in like the electronic scene, I want to ask them like because Marshmello is one of those artists that like people are yay or nay, like
I'm more like I'm too old for that. Like I just
okay.
don't.
I was just wondering. That's not I didn't mean to I like Marshmello. He's all right. The artist is all right. But Marshmello, let's see what else I was into with like I don't know. I could spend all night talking about electronic music, but
Well, send me a list. I'm gonna go listen to some Rise Against because I feel like I'm too peripheral with that. But what I have heard.
Kill Switch Engage, Papa Roach, Stains, Seether, all
So
of
Papa
them.
Roach kept putting out music after.
Listen, listen to No Apologies. Have you listened to it yet?
Is it new?
Yeah, it's a good
No,
song.
but
It's
they
there.
just came back on my radar, and I'm like, hell yeah, they're still
You
fucking
you need to listen to No Apologies. It is
good.
a
Okay.
fantastic song.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
It is great, and it gets you like pumped from the start, and like the, but the you gotta listen to you gotta watch the video like of Help first, because the
Okay.
Help, if you watch the video for Help, which is the song before No Apologies, the video kind of it's like a sequel to the Help video.
Oh, nice.
So they do
So
the
see
Help
that?
video, and then it's like it, and then the story goes on to No Apologies.
Okay, I'm gonna go do that when I hang up here.
All right.
Because you know what? He got sober, and it just proves that you can still rock even
This
sober.
this has been one of my favorite interviews, and I'm not just saying that because you're on here. It's been awesome.
Well, I'm
It
glad.
really
Thanks
has
for
been. It
having
really
me
has
on.
been. It really has been. Social media. Where can people find you on there?
So Sophia Prise is Prise, and that's always my handle. So Instagram is Sophia Prise. I really don't update my Facebook. The website is sophiaprise.com. So between the
Mm.
Instagram and the website, you can get all my stuff.
All right. Thank you again for coming on the podcast today. Appreciate it. And have a good night. Thank you.
Sensibly Cynical. Thank
Sensibly
you.
cynical. Do you like the name first? Real quick, do you
I
like the name?
I like it. I like it. I feel like I vibe with that. That resonates with
So do you
me.
like the so yeah, a lot of people are like get thrown off by the podcast name, but some people like it. I like it. Obviously, that's why
I
it's my
think for
podcast.
some reason it just like goes with the logo. So I was like, oh, okay. That's
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's kind of like subjectless, so I can go wherever. That part's nice. I'm not
yeah,
like bounded to anything. Sensibly cynical. I mean, you can talk about anything on that fucking show. Like,
absolutely.
I,
Yes, I love it. And
I
that's the best thing about podcasts is that they can be meandering a little bit at
listen,
least.
Sophia. I had the VHS king on the podcast. He has like his whole house is VHS tapes.
I've heard of
So
this guy.
VHS Mikey, shout out. This guy,
Nice.
this guy literally has to get a new house like this year because he has too many VHS tapes.
Oh
I think
wow.
I think
Okay,
he
everyone,
chose
look at the back catalog. Look at the VHS
I
King
think he like
episode.
chose it over a lot of things, and which, hey, I mean, you do you.
You do you. We've all got our flair.
I
Okay,
mean, all right,
take
that's
good
it.
care.
Yep, you too. Keep in touch. All
Definitely.
right, all right, bye,
Cheers.
bye.